ratifier la Convention de Genève.
Économie.
Riforma giudiziaria.
Sveiki, čia Europos naujienos. Kaip ir įprasta, glaustai ir originalo kalba, kai kurie reportažai su lietuviškais titrais. Visa tai žinoma jūsų patogumui. Na, o šioje laidoje kova su terorizmu. Europa pasiruošusi teisiniam atkirčiui. ES turi siekti pergalės propagandinėme kare. Kova su skurdu. Moterų padėtis. Tai ir suprantama dar daugiau visai netrukus. Metas pradėti. Ir pirmiausiai kova su terorizmu. Europa pasiruošusi teisiniam atkirčiui. Europos parlamento narė iš Vokietijos Monika Hohlmeier ir Eurojusto ES teisminio bendradarbiavimo agentūros pirmininkė pristato Europos kovos su terorizmu ir užsienio kovotojų reiškinių planus.
National policies adopted integrate diverse measures to counter the phenomenon of foreign fighters and prevent radicalization. The role of Eurojust is to support cooperation between national prosecuting authorities. Considering the number of victims of the last attacks in Paris and Brussels, what can Eurojust do? We asked Michel Konings, president of Eurojust, and German MEP Monika Hohlmeier.
Well, it's indeed because of the victims that we're working so hard and that we are focusing on the judicial dimension of the fight against terrorism. The rule of law context and the constitutional state context is obliging us to fight terrorists based on the criminal justice approach.
100% guarantee nobody can give. But there are certain lacks in our data exchange systems. There are a kind of unwillingness, or there is a kind of unwillingness over years from the member states to really exchange the data. But on the other side, there are legislation is existing that prohibits data exchange.
What should be improved? What is the added value of Eurojust?
To make use of Eurojust in the earliest stage possible, to even make more use of the facilities offered by Eurojust, its cooperation facilities, accelerated judicial cooperation, but also offering them a forum where they can operationally exchange information in real time, use the coordination centers of Eurojust, the joint investigation teams, which I call the a Rolls-Royce of mutual legal assistance.
I think the member states learn now in a very, they are under pressure, that they have to learn very quickly that cooperation must be improved. And the exchange and the justice help in between, or justice support in between member states, sometimes is very slow. So Eurojust is really very important for coordinating just-in-time cooperation.
Did the Paris and Brussels attacks change your approach to the problem?
Well, we have been working on terrorism since many years, since the 11th of March 2004, and we built up a network of devoted, operational, highly specialized anti-terrorism prosecutors. And since 2013, we focused on foreign terrorist fighters. So we were already on top of the identification of the problem.
It didn't change my view. It shocked me that this is possible, but it didn't change my view because I trust security institutions. But in my point of view, data protection is given a very high value in our society, and the security issue is very often dealt as if this would be a breach against data protection. No, I think security institutions have to save our lives.
The EU doesn't have a common definition for terrorism or criminalization. Is there a need for a common legal framework?
Seen from a criminal point of view, is certainly part of the reality. So what we have to take care of is, for a common problem, again, a common approach. We see that there are prosecution gaps if you do not have the same common legal framework.
This is one goal of the terrorism directive, to have a common basis of a common legal frame. It's clear that the criminal law is in the responsibility of the member states, but perhaps Eurojust can fulfill one very important work. This is the work to have an exchange. What kind of measures are the most successful. Is it more successful to do it in the way that how one member state is doing it, or is it more successful in the other way?
But which prosecution gaps are we talking about?
Solo recruitment was not being tackled by some of the member states. We saw that training was mainly referring to active training, not to passive training, on-the-going training. We also saw that the membership in a terrorist organization was translated differently in different member states. What is a person traveling with terrorist intentions? What is a person getting organized and financing travel for terrorist intention? And what is a person returning back with terrorist intention?
The first gap that we need to close is data exchange. There is a huge gap. Member states still are not as quick as they should be. We need a little bit more confidence in our security institutions. They need a backing.
Kita aktuali tema – propaganda. Šioje srityje ES turi siekti pergalės. Propagandinis karas gali turėti nemažesnį poveikį negu tikri kariniai veiksmai. Elmaras Brokas mano, jog propagandinis karas gali turėti nemažesnį poveikį negu tikri kariniai veiksmai, todėl ES turi kirsti įdomų atsakomąjį smūgį.
Repressing dissent and using the media to promulgate anti-Western sentiment. Russia, other countries and media-savvy actors have mastered the art of propaganda. Can Europe strike back, and how can they counter? Elmar Brok, the chair of Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, sat down with Europol TV. Okay, Mr. Brok, thank you for joining us. Now, a poll says that 75% of Russians believe that there are no Russian soldiers in Ukraine. It gives Putin an 85% approval rating, and it also says that 20% of Russians would like to wear a T-shirt with Vladimir Putin's face in it. So what do you make of this? Is Putin the best modern-day propaganda merchant that is out there right now?
Look, he was able to destroy nearly all independent media. So he has the monopoly of the media, and therefore he's telling his people what he likes. We are not able to do the same thing. There's a difference between a democracy where we have the freedom of media with different opinions, and therefore such an autocratic leader is always more able to manipulate his own people.
But how does Russian propaganda work, and how is EU anti-Russia propaganda not working?
No, I think it's a difference that I try to explain between an autocratic society. We can produce one opinion, and the European Union, where we have in every country 10 opinions. And therefore, in a free society, it's very difficult to come up with one opinion, one information policy.
But this task force that has been set up, it's a very small task force. Russia itself has troll farms made up of hundreds of people. Is the EU expected, or does the EU want to have troll farms of its own?
We have to counteract it, both within the European Union and in Russia and in the neighboring countries of Russia. And here I think so many modern possibilities are available. We have only to take a little bit more money in our hands, do it jointly as nations of the European Union.
Just to give you a few facts and figures on Russia today, it broadcasts not only in different languages, and according to them, they are the first broadcast channel to reach 1 billion views or hits on YouTube. So what would you like to see Europe do? Would you like to see a Europe Today, perhaps?
Europe Today, and perhaps a better cooperation between BBC, Deutsche Welle, and the French channels. And I think here we have to put much more money into that. I saw the other day in Iraq, where it was done in Arabic. There was no BBC and no Deutsche Welle there, but Russia Today in a hotel. Then you see how far it spread everywhere, and we do not competing very much with that.
And would part of the strategy involve maybe breaking down the myth or the godlike status that Putin seems to have acquired?
No, I think it's not a question directly with Putin. It's a question of not anti-Russian movement, but make facts correct.
So who do you think is pulling the strings? Would you say it's the Kremlin, or would you put a name on it and call it Putin?
I think all this policy is the Kremlin and Putin.
Now, moving away from Russia itself, there's Ukraine, there's Georgia, and then of course the so-called Islamic State, who have been able to use propaganda to their advantage.
First of all, we have no EU media policy, and we cannot have a unified EU media policy because it's against our principles of a free society. But on top of that, we must be able to create something which takes that into account, but on the other side, gives clear information of our policy, have clear information about that, what happens in the world, and do it in an entertaining way. But it's very difficult, it's very expensive. But our leaders in Brussels and in the national capitals have to understand that in these days, propaganda war is at least so effective as normal war in order to influence the world.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Mr. Brock. Thank you so much.
Toliau laidoje kova su skurdu. Kokia yra moterų padėtis? Parlamentui siekiant apsaugoti moteris nuo skurdo teisės aktų pataisomis kalbamės su moterimi patyrusią smurtą ir gyvenančią skurde.
Je voulais essayer d'en parler, mais j'avais honte de parler de ce qui m'arrivait. Les deux hommes que j'ai eus dans ma vie, c'était l'enfer. Et j'ai été battue aussi par mes fils. Alors croyez-moi que ça, je le souhaite à personne.
This is Geraldine's story. We can't give you her real name or tell you where she lives. After fleeing decades of abuse which left her disabled and unable to work, she is slowly piecing her life back together with the help of an NGO who are on a house call. But Geraldine's life is still very much a struggle.
Vous savez, il y a des jours où j'ai rien à manger, je regarde la télévision, je vois les assiettes. Je m'en vais me coucher, je prends plus qu'il ne le faut de médicaments pour dormir.
But even without enough money to eat, she has help which in itself makes her luckier than some women. The simple fact of being born a woman puts you at an instant disadvantage. 17% of women compared to 16% of men in the EU are at a risk from poverty and social exclusion.
J'ai connu un monsieur qui était dans la même situation, mais ses affaires ont été plus vite que les miennes. Et je me suis demandé pourquoi, mais le monsieur lui claquait le poing sur la table. Moi, j'arriverais pas à faire ça.
The European Parliament is pushing for new ideas to help women in poverty. They want changes that can help create a better balance between work and family life. Figures show that 34% of single mothers are at a greater risk of poverty versus 17% of those with a family structure. Another idea is to make basic essentials more affordable for those on the breadline.
Geležinkelių rinka pasiruošusi atsiverti konkurencijai. Europos parlamento nariai džiaugiasi sunkiai pasiektų susitarimų atveriančių geležinkelių tinklus konkurencijai, tačiau įspėja, kad permainos vyks tik palaipsniui.
Plans for a more open and competitive domestic EU railway network was given the green light after MEPs and negotiators from the Council shook hands on a deal on the final pillar of the fourth railway package.
It was tough. The Council didn't want social obligations for the Member States. Second item was under which circumstances the contract for the new railway package can be awarded directly. So no public procurement, but direct award of the new railway contract.
Negotiations to improve Europe's railway network have been labouring on for 4 years. One of the biggest headaches has been how to change the way in which public service contracts were awarded. Under the deal, competitive bidding will now allow new operators onto the market, thereby breaking up old monopolies, but with an exception. Smaller member states will still be able to award direct contracts. Also on the table, preventing conflict of interest between rail operators and infrastructure managers, better safeguards of train worker rights, and better access for high-speed rail. And for the consumer,
avranno più possibilità di scelta. Come sempre quando si apre il mercato avranno possibilità di scegliere servizi, di scegliere modalità di viaggio, avranno la possibilità quindi le compagnie di proporre offerte diverse.
But changes won't take effect till 2033 at the earliest, as member states won the battle to have long transition periods for the rules to take effect.
Na ir pabaigai pažiūrėkime į žvaigždes. ES ekonomikos ir saugumo stiprinimas su pagalba iš kosmoso. Parlamentas ruošia rezoliuciją dėl kosmoso panaudojimo ES gynybai ir saugumui. Bet kokie bus konkretūs pasiūlymai?
Looking to the stars for economic salvation. That's what MEPs are seeking in their report on space capabilities for European security and defence. It would see European companies, in particular SMEs, build and launch satellites and develop software and imagery programs.
Yo creo que para ello esa estrategia europea de seguridad y defensa, basada en la innovación y en las nuevas tecnologías, en esas capacidades espaciales que ya estamos desarrollando, va a ser clave para la buena cooperación, pero también desde un punto de vista de la igualdad de los europeos.
For some, it is also about ensuring the security of citizens, but others fear it might be seen as a way to militarize space.
Z jednej strony mamy tak, że są osoby, które obawiają się, że ten system będzie nadmiernie pro-bezpieczeństwa. Natomiast inni, wręcz odwrotnie, domagają się, aby on był zbudowany także w kierunku bezpieczeństwa. Znaleźliśmy bardzo dobry środek optymalny, który uzyskał akceptację.
In the report, MEPs call on the European Commission to lay out the groundwork for a comprehensive European space policy.
Tiek šiandien, ačiū už drauge praleistą laiką. Europos naujienos laida, kurią rengėme drauge su Europarl TV, jūsų lauks ir kitą savaitę, tad iki naujų susitikimų.
Ratifier la Convention de Genève.
Économie. Riforma giudiziaria.
Bonjour, après la